Good afternoon and welcome to Locked On NBA Daily. On today's show, the knockout stage of the NBA Cup begins tonight, so we make our predictions of who will advance. Meanwhile, are the Thunder in a league of their own, and do the Pelicans have a new face of the franchise?
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome back to Locked On NBA Daily, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. However you're tuning in on YouTube or on your favorite podcast app, thanks for making us your first listen every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com, place your NFL live bets all season long. I'm Wes Goldberg. Today, we're talking about the Thunder positioning themselves for something we've never seen before in NBA history and why the future might be brighter than you think in New Orleans, and we're doing it with the help of Locked On's local experts. And I have two of the best with me as always from the Locked On Nuggets podcast. He's a senior NBA writer for the Action Network. It's Matt Moore. Matt?
It's World Be Free's birthday. If you don't know who that is, go read any number of books, including Loose Balls is a great one about the ABA. But yeah, happy birthday to World Be Free.
Books. Do people even read those anymore? From the Locked On Bulls podcast, he's also a Bears and Bulls creator for Bleacher Report. It's Haize.
It's time to talk about the Wes's favorite thing to discuss. That's the NBA Cup. Let's get into it.
Okay, well, we might as well just start there. It is the knockout stage of the NBA Cup tonight. Heat at Magic, Knicks at Raptors for the two Eastern Conference games. And then tomorrow it's the Western Conference's turn. Suns at Thunder, and then Spurs at Lakers. Yes, we did make our picks for the four games. So let's just start with tonight's games, I guess. Matt? NBA Cup fan Matt Moore, who do you got?
Heat. Love the Heat tonight. Love the Heat tonight. What could possibly go wrong? Miami's on the 3-game losing streak, but I really do think if you kind of look at it, it's two look-ahead spots sandwiched by a tough loss to Orlando. And so I look at this as a really good opportunity for the Heat to kind of show where they're at. Franz Wagner, hugely important in any number of ways to Orlando. Their half-court offense is 3 points worse without him. Their half-court defense is 2 points worse without him. Their transition, like every single facet of the game is impacted by Franz Wagner being out. I think that's going to be a huge factor here. I can't wait to see Davion Mitchell versus Jalen Suggs. This is going to be such a great, great matchup of just like tough, annoying guards. I cannot tell you how excited I am for it, but I love Miami to go ahead and advance here. I think Miami has a real shot at going deep in this thing.
Yeah, Mitchell versus Suggs is kind of a Spider-Man meme of defensive-minded point guards. Haize, who do you got?
I got the Miami Heat in this game. Not to say the Magic can't put up a fight. They can. But I think the Miami Heat they're too good defensively. The pace offensively they're able to keep up with. And with the Orlando Magic missing Franz, I just can't bet against the Miami Heat in this game.
Oh, that's really unfortunate because that's going to make it a consensus, which means the Heat are definitely going to lose this game.
Yep. Goodbye, Heat.
Goodbye, Heat. This was the furthest the Heat have ever advanced in the NBA Cup, which might have a little bit of something to do with why I'm not a huge fan of this thing. Maybe I just don't get it. But you mentioned, Matt, that Franz Wagner out for Orlando. Paolo Banchero obviously been back for a couple of games now. The Heat are going to get a bunch of guys back, Davion Mitchell being one of them, and Norm Powell and Tyler Hero. The last time they had all three of them in the lineup together, they won a game. So it's not, exactly rocket science here. I, too, like the Heat in this one, unfortunately. They're 1-point favorites on FanDuel right now on the road. If they're able to get up enough threes with Hero and Powell back in the mix, I just think that they're going to end up winning the math battle against the Magic. Just limit the turnovers. They had like 7 turnovers in the third quarter of their loss against Orlando on Friday night. So just keep the turnovers down with your 3 main playmakers back in the rotation. They should be able to do that. I like the Heat on the road.
This game will be very much like many of my nights spent in my senior year of college, fast and ugly. It's gonna be a lot of transition and a lot of missed shots because both these teams are really good defensively and not that good offensively, especially in half court. So it's gonna be a real battle here with the Magic trying to get out in transition, but the Heat don't let you get out in transition. Also, Wes, we can't get you on board with the cup thing. Here's one. Heat are down 0-2 in the season series versus the Magic, which could decide tiebreaker. But because of this extra game, if they win this one in the next 2, they can still win tiebreaker outright. So there's a reason for you to take this one seriously.
Other than that, it's a basketball game that matters. But and now we make it matter ostensibly even more because it's the NBA Cup. No, I get it. We'll see. We'll see what happens tonight. Knicks at Raptors is the second game for the Eastern Conference. Karl Anthony Towns listed as questionable with a calf injury. Deuce McBride is out also for the Knicks. For the Raptors, RJ Barrett is out. But Haize, who do you like in this one?
This is a more difficult one. I'm gonna pick. No, I've doubted the Raptors every step of the way. I'm going with the Raptors in this game. I've doubted the Raptors a lot. I almost did it again for the same reasons, but they have proven me pretty wrong this season in regards to how I view them. The fourth best team in the Eastern Conference as things stands right now. I'll take the Toronto Raptors in this game.
This number absolutely shocked me. Here's the record for the Toronto Raptors when RJ Barrett plays this season. 12-5. Here's the record when the Toronto Raptors, when RJ Barrett does not play. 3-5, including 1-7 versus the spread. If you look at the splits, here's what happens. Barrett compensates a little bit defensively and offensively for Ingram, especially in the non-Ingram minutes. He does a lot to stabilize those minutes alongside Shed. Without him, they have to go to Jacoby Walter or AJ Lawson. Lawson, I thought, played really well the other night versus the Celtics. But overall, that drop is so significant that it absolutely craters them. You become more dependent on Ingram, and guess what? Ingram is a net negative for this team. In the minutes without him, they're very good, but you wind up playing Ingram more because you're missing Ingram's handling and shot creation at the 2. So, like, all of this is very, very bad. I think the Knicks are absolutely going to roll tonight in Toronto. I think this is going to be like a 20-point blowout for the Knicks.
Are you assuming Cat plays?
Yes, I am assuming Karl Anthony Towns plays because money and a trip to Vegas is on the
line. It's a great call. I think without Cat, Jakob Poeltl can plant himself in the paint, make things really difficult for the Knicks. And then to your point, yes, RJ Barrett is out. As long as one of Brandon Ingram, Emmanuel Quickley, Scotty Barnes goes off, I think that gives Toronto a chance in this one. I'm also going to go with the Raptors. It just feels sort of like they're due. If Towns is limited with this calf thing, he's just not going to be the same. I like Jakob Poeltl as a difference maker in the paint, and I think just one of these guys goes off for tonight for the Raptors. It's the NBA Cup, baby. Anything can happen, right? That's what we keep saying.
Hey, look, I just look. If you want to know what the motivation is here, the winner tonight, the winner tonight racks up. If you make the semifinals, you make at least you make an extra $100,000. Now you're like, what does that matter? These guys make $60 million. They care. They just do. It's if you got if it's you and all you have to do is go to work and have a good day at work and you make $100,000, you can do it, right? Loser gets $50K, but if you win this round, you get $100K. You win the next round, you get $200K, and then $500,000 for the winner. So,
what do we get?
We get the joy of meaningful basketball in December, which is very hard to find.
You can't put a price on that, can you? Western Conference games, we'll do this quickly since this is Wednesday night. We could still have some time to talk about it tomorrow. But Suns at Thunder. Is anybody overthinking this? Are we all taking the Thunder?
You're taking the Thunder.
I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be real close. I think it's going to be an ugly game, and I think it's going to be close. I am not to a point where without Devin Booker, I can pick OKC to lose this game. But I think this is going to be like, we're going to look up and be like, hey, like the Suns, I think that the Thunder are going to get off to like an 18-2 run, and we're going to be like, well, this is done, right? And then in the fourth quarter, it's like, Suns are only down 6. Like, they're only up. Dylan Brooks hit a 3. I think it's going to be close, but I will go ahead and say OKC gets through because I'm not that brave.
So Jordan Ott the other day was hinting that Devin Booker could play. He's been practicing the last couple of practices for Phoenix. So if he's available, and to your point, Matt, maybe the money is enough to convince him to play in this one. Maybe that could swing something. I don't know. Spurs at Lakers. Haize, who do you like? This one's tough.
Man, this is tough. The Lakers are playing good basketball. I'll say the Spurs on this one. I fought against my belief for the Raptors, but the Spurs, I've been in on their roster. I've been in on their depth since the start of the season. Wemby is amazing. I'll go with the Spurs here.
We are very likely to get Wemby back for this. He practiced this week. We're getting the fully operational Death Star here versus the Lakers. Luke, I cannot wait for this if we get Wemby. Luka versus Wemby. Are you kidding me? Like, this is terrific. In the cup?
This is what it's all about.
It's absolutely. I really am. I'm very excited for this game. I like the Lakers here. I actually like the matchup quite a bit. I think that Ayton is a good counter kind of foil for Wembanyama. Spurs perimeter defense is good, but I don't think it's ready for the onslaught of all. I actually think Austin Reeves is going to be the deciding factor in this one. I actually sneaky think there's a chance that Austin Reeves steals Cup MVP.
Ooh. Can you bet on that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Of course.
Many times.
You can do it with FanDuel, the code LOCKEDONNBA. I'm going Lakers here only because of what LeBron looked like the other day. I think I probably would have picked the Spurs if LeBron still looked a little shaky, but if he's going to be like this, if he's kind of got his wind, I like him. Wemby probably coming back, but even if he does, is he a little limited? Is there a minutes restriction? Just too many questions on the Spurs end. I just feel a little bit more comfortable with the Lakers, so I'm going to pick the Lakers here. We talked briefly about the Oklahoma City Thunder. NBA Cup or not, are the Thunder in a league of their own? We'll talk about that next. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast, one big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you could place bets as the action unfolds every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into that moment. Live spreads and money lines adjust instantly. Player props update as guys heat up. You could bet next touchdown scorers, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, and every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast. So can you. Thanks for making Locked On NBA Daily your first listen. The best way to support the show is to subscribe on YouTube. We are Monday to Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern, wherever you get your podcasts. Let's talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are 23-1. They're double-digit favorites in seemingly every game that they play. And over at Locked On Thunder, Rylan Stiles said that the Thunder are in a league of their own.
Sitting here looking at this Thunder team today, I mean, they're 21-1. They haven't played a game healthy or with their typical starting five just yet. Shai is the best player in the league and in the clutch. Jalen Williams returns, shows that he's an elite playmaker, elite defender, and got that efficiency back as a scorer against Utah in his last game out. Chet Holmgren has been vastly improved. And you go down the list here, and we will, everyone on this roster feels so much better than they were a year ago. And most of these improvements, Brandon, I think will really shine through come playoff time. You'll feel to what degree they've gotten better when you see SGA, when you see Chet and his offensive ability in the postseason and how different that looks compared to a year ago. And I'm sitting here and I really think that the Thunder just run this league, Brandon. I really think that the Thunder are in a class of their own.
Haize, your thoughts on what Rylan was saying there, the Oklahoma City Thunder and everybody else in the NBA?
I mean, it's starting to feel like that. I mean, especially in the regular season, I can agree with him feeling that way. I mean, but we saw over the playoffs against the Nuggets, we saw it against the Pacers. Like, it's not like they can't be beat, but I do think they are in a league of their own. They're still very beatable, though, especially with the shooting still being spotty at times. But, yeah, I don't think any team's in the same class as the OKC Thunder right now.
I like how Rylan's acts like it's some sort of bold statement. Like, oh, man, what, you think the team – here's one. How about this? Let's just take the double-digit wins. Double-digit. Let's say that we remove every other loss that's single digits, okay? Or win that's single digits. They're one loss and they're single digits. They would be 16-8, third in the Western Conference if you just took them their record of double-digit wins versus single-digit wins and losses. That's how good they are. Every single indicator. Now, the problem here is it's very tempting to I'm a contrarian by nature, in part because that's what sports has taught me. Do you know how often I've been here where it's last year it was this Boston Celtics team, what could stop them? 2 years ago it was this Denver Nuggets team. Look exactly, they are rolling, nothing stopping the champs. This is what happens. We are 5 months from the playoffs. There is so much basketball left, and then the hard stuff begins. But I cannot, I dig through the numbers for this is what I do is I try and find like, are you as good as everything says that you are? And every single number with OKC is, yeah, they are probably not as good as the record, but they are still in a class of their own. Like they are 3 points better by schedule adjusted net rating than the second closest team.
Right.
That is a huge gap.
I want to play that out though, what you just said. In comparison to that Celtics team, and it's an interesting comparison because even with that Celtics team, we're like, yeah, overwhelming favorites, whatever. They still didn't feel like this Thunder team, right? We still had doubts about Jason Tatum. We never talked about him as an MVP guy.
Well, they felt like that to you.
Fair enough.
Like, I mean, no, because here's the thing is, there were actual people that actually work in sports analysis who I may or may not disagree with a lot of the time, who were literally tweeting like, I just don't see anything that's going to stop Celtics versus Thunder being in the finals. You could just go ahead and wrap it up. And it's like, it's too early, man. It's just too early.
Well, and what put Boston down in that series against the Knicks was, missing 3-point shots. And then they obviously, Tatum gets hurt, but we've been over that a million times. They probably lose that series even with Tatum healthy.
Yeah.
With that Thunder part of it, Matt, is there like, let's play it out. Like, let's say the Thunder do lose.
Okay.
Because Rylan is talking in the rest of that podcast about what the one thing that can undo the Thunder essentially is injuries. And this is kind of an injury-prone team if you think about how much time like Chet and Isaiah Hartenstein and Jalen Williams have missed. Kind of freak injuries, but they've missed a lot of time. Is that it? Is it just because they basically said if healthy, nobody's beating them? Is there if the Thunder lose, is that the only reason why they lose?
Do you feel like? Go ahead, Dave.
No, I mean, I think what we saw, like, that's why I keep going back to the Pacers. The Pacers are more talented. Were they a more talented team than the Thunder? No, but you saw throughout well coaching, well execution, and a team that really took care of trying to force them to have to take jump shots. That they were beatable. So we've seen how to beat the Thunder, and that's why I separated like playoff basketball and regular season. They're in a class of their own, and they're going to be. But I think if you give a team 7 games with a really good X's and O's coach and a team that buys in, you can beat the Thunder. The Thunder can be beaten. I'm not saying it's easy, but it can be done.
Does this offense feel unstoppable to US?
No, it does not feel unstoppable. No. There's times where Shai feels unstoppable with the offense overall.
Yeah. And Shai struggled a lot in that playoff run last year. Now, I think the secret here may be like Shai got through that, and now he's a better player. And he's not like he's the experience, like totally reasonable, right? Like if you're listening to this and it's like, why are you working so hard? It's because like quite simply, this could be a 3-second or a 20-second segment of just like, the Thunder are gonna beat everybody. Yeah. But I will say, like, they don't feel like the Warriors in 2016. Who didn't win the title. They don't feel like the Warriors in 2015 or 2017. That's not what they feel like to me. They feel like a team where, look, it's hard. Don't turn the ball over. Make your threes. They give up the 3rd most 3-point attempts in the league. Like, you can do it. No one is.
Right.
And you have to do it at some point. But I look at teams like, I look at the West, and I look at a lot of this, honestly, though, here's the other part of this. If Denver and Houston wind up 2-3, whoever comes out of that second round series is going to have nothing left for OKC. So, like, that's one of the problems is, like, who's going to catch you? Is you can't turn the ball over. You have to play great defense. And you have to be able to get the game where you want it to be and not, like, again, you don't turn the ball over and they become mortal. But that's the real key here.
Haize, I want to throw something at you here because FanDuel has the Thunder as the overwhelming favorites to win the NBA Cup at -135. The next closest team is the Knicks at +500. So even FanDuel is just like, regular season NBA Cup, it don't matter. This Thunder team might just accidentally win the NBA Cup. But we've never seen a team win the NBA Cup and win the championship in the same season. The NBA Cup is only 2 years old, so that's probably the main reason for it. But the Thunder are the favorites to win the Cup, and they're the overwhelming favorites to win the championship again this season. We've never seen anybody sort of run the table here. Do we need to have a name for this if the Thunder do it like this? And would it matter? Like, is winning the NBA Cup and the championship, does that almost give more weight to this season for the Thunder potentially?
I don't personally think so. Like, while I do enjoy NBA Cup games, I still look at winning the NBA Cup. Like, it's cool. It's an accomplishment. I don't know if it changes, like, if you win the Cup and the finals in the same year, if it changes anything for me personally yet, but it could be. Like you said, we're still in the infancy of the NBA Cup, so it could be you start stacking things like that, retroactively, it can mean more. We do need to come up with a name for it, though. Matt's pretty good at that type of stuff. I'm sure Matt got something.
I mean, I love stealing from other sports. It's the Triple Crown. If you get the cup, the best record in the league, and you win the title.
Ooh. I like that.
That's that is a flawless season. You won a single game elimination tournament. You got the best record in the league, and you won the NBA title. There is expectations cannot be higher for you, and you fulfilled every single one of them. And there is also a very good chance here that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander goes for the MVP Triple Crown. Cup MVP, regular season, and finals.
Wow.
Okay.
So you can have a team Triple Crown and the player Triple Crown. I love the Triple Crown as an idea because the Thunder are definitely running towards that at full speed right now. I also had some ideas, like, could we call it like the NBA Grand Slam? If you don't win the regular season record thing, is it like the double banner season? Because you get to hang 2 banners from 1 year, a wire-to-wire championship. I just think there's a lot of things that I don't know. I think it would actually be pretty interesting to see a team kind of just be this wire-to-wire champion from the NBA Cup through the regular season to the NBA Finals.
2 trophies, 1 cup. No, we're not. No, is that?
I will say this: if you win MVP, Finals MVP, and NBA Cup MVP, I feel like that player should get a crown. Like they should literally
a literal crown.
Yeah.
LeBron would be so mad.
Oh my God,
would be pissed.
He would be so upset. Speaking of crowns, Derik Queen went off for a 30-point triple-double last night. Is it enough to excuse the trade that the Pelicans made to move up to get him in the first place? We're going to talk about that next. Today's episode is brought to you by Mint Mobile. There's no reason to let big wireless strain your wallet, especially during the holidays. Right now, Mint Mobile is running their best deal of the year. All of their unlimited plans are 50% off. That means you can lock in 3, 6, or even 12 months of unlimited premium wireless for just $15 a month. It's the easiest way to take your overpriced phone bill and give it the full Scrooge treatment. And what makes this even better is now how simple Mint makes the switch. No contracts, no nonsense, just real savings and real quality service. Switching to Mint lets you keep your same coverage for a lower price. Setup takes only a few minutes. You can bring your own phone number without any issues, and the service is fast and super reliable even on the go. It feels good knowing that you're not overpaying just to stay connected. Turn your expensive wireless present into a huge wireless savings future by switching to Mint. Shop Mint Unlimited plans at mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. That's mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. Limited time offer. Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12 months. Plan required, $15 a month equivalent. Taxes and fees. Initial plan term only. 35 gigs may slow when network is busy. Capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. See mintmobile.com. Welcome back to Locked On NBA Daily. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. The Locked On Podcast Network is a show for every team. Check out Locked On Thunder and Locked On Pelicans for more on today's top stories and the team's shows that are playing tonight for post-game reactions to the NBA Cup knockout stage. But let's talk about last night's action. We got to talk about Derik Queen. 33 points, 10 assists, 10 rebounds, and 4 blocks against the Spurs last night. There was a bunch of these StatMuse type graphics and lists out there last night after Derik Queen did that and sort of explaining the company that Derik Queen joined with that performance. And he's on lists with guys like Victor Wembanyama, James Harden, LeBron James, Michael Jordan. And it's got Pelicans fans excited. Here's more from Locked On Pelicans.
Trading away the unprotected first-round pick from this year is bad business. But sometimes your luck out in bad business turns into a great end product, and that might just be what happened with the Derik Queen trade. You want draft picks to turn into players that you can build around. That's what you want a top 4 draft pick to become. The Pelicans already have that. Derik Queen continues to prove that while not perfect, he is a great building block for the future of this team. Tonight's 33, 10 and 10, 4 blocks, triple-double. It was a special night.
Matt, I know we've talked about this earlier in the season, but with the way Derik Queen has played now in that starting lineup for the New Orleans Pelicans, is his performance lately enough to excuse the trade that the Pelicans made in the first place to go up and get him?
Man. Okay. No, because if you look at this just from a logical perspective, okay, the idea is, well, we knew we did the work and we scouted him and we talked to him and we did the interviews and we did the work that we're supposed to do. And we knew this was our guy. And that's a really good process. The problem is you didn't limit your downside at all. If Derik suffered or suffers an injury, God forbid, if we don't have a good indication right now of Queen's career. This is the great part of it where it's oh my God, he's awesome. There will come the part where it's well, yeah, but when people get tired of the hype, because nobody can stand anyone being hyped anymore. There will be downsides that are revealed about him. So there's that side of it. You didn't leave yourself any downside. It's so risky where it's hey, no one minds you going to get Derik Queen. They mind you giving up an unprotected first that might wind up being a number 1 pick. Because the only thing better than Derik Queen is Derik Queen and Cam Boozer. So it's you can't, I get the idea and I like the idea of doing that, but I can't get around the process side of it. It is just really fascinating to me though, to see if he wins, what if the other side happens, right? That's the downside. What if the other side happens? What if Queen wins not only rookie of the year, but he becomes, and look, it's too early, but what if he becomes an MVP candidate, what's the level to which you're okay, fine. Process was bad, but the result was good enough. It was a good trade. What does he have to do in order to make it worth it, Haize?
See, this is the thing, right? And this is such a unique situation because in most trades, you look at what Derik Queen's already done and you say they won that trade, right? Or at least they didn't lose it. But because the Pelicans are still so bad, this pick could still literally turn into the number 1 overall pick. And if that's the case, and then Cam Boozer or whoever ends up living up to the hype and being better than Derik Queen, you still got yourself a good player, which is the point of every trade, is get yourself a good player. I think either way they got themselves a good player. Derik Queen would turn out to be great, but you can still lose the trade. It's such a unique situation to be in. So even if Derik Queen wins the rookie of the year or whatever else it is, you could still lose this trade if the pick ends up turning into a truly transformative player for the Atlanta Hawks. And that's the problem in this.
You could argue that the Pelicans lose the trade if the player that the Hawks choose with their selection ends up being better than Derik Queen or Jeremiah Fears. Both of these guys have to be better than the pick that the Hawks eventually make, because you could have just had Derik Queen at 7 instead of taking Jeremiah Fears.
Yeah.
But look, Queen's awesome. We want to feel good for New Orleans on the heels of this triple-double with 4 blocks. And the way that he's been playing and the way that James Borrego is using him, I mean, Matt, you watch Nikola Jokic up close in person. Nobody's calling Derik Queen Jokic, but there's clearly some influence in how the Pelicans are trying to operate with Derik Queen. You see a lot of similar stuff from Alperen Şengün in Houston. If he's playing like this, and if he's really the new face of the franchise for the Pelicans, how should they move forward? And then I guess the elephant in the room is what happens then to Zion?
So I like Fears a lot, but I think they need to go get a point guard. And there's some good options here, but I think you need somebody who can help Queen on the short roll. That's what you really need, is you need a guard that can just come off, force help, and then hit him on the short roll so he can operate out of that and space around him. He won't do it because I understand because of his family, but just I would really love Chris Paul to finish his career in New Orleans. I know it's you want Chris Paul finishing on this terrible Pelicans team. It just, for me, from a heartstring standpoint, Chris was so good in New Orleans. That was the best of his career. And I would like to see that. If the Blazers came off of Drew Holiday, I would love to see Drew back there finishing that on. Again, you don't want to see Drew on that kind of a team, but somebody like that who's a veteran who could be all right, okay, guys, let's try and actually be professionals here. But look, they are going to get DeJounte Murray back at some point, and DeJounte might be that guy that can actually help with that regard. I'd like a little bit better of a passer, but that to me is you now reorient everything, where it's everything that we're doing is around Derik Queen, which makes Zion Williamson expendable. It makes DeJounte Murray expendable. And honestly, what's cool about this, Haize, they can now start being all right, maybe we do want to move Trey Murphy. Maybe we do want to move Herb Jones, because if we're building around Queen, we want guys specifically to go with him. And we can start looking at the best options younger to do that. Maybe get a pick back.
Yeah, I mean they could do that. I do think Trey Murphy, if you get the right point guard, probably will fit regardless. But he's probably also the player that you can get the most back for, considering he's 25 years old, averaging 20 players. He's a solid defender as well. So I think you got to weigh what you're getting back for that. I do think the Pelicans should be looking to get a pick in this 2026 draft if they can by moving, one of those players. But Herb is one of those, Jones. He can fit on just about any team because of his game, defensive focus. He can fit on any team, but he is 27 years old, not old. But if they want to restart their timeline, it would make some sense to move him as well.
If you like what you heard today, subscribe to Locked On NBA Daily wherever you get your podcasts, including on YouTube. Thank you to Matt and Haize for their expertise every day. Thank you for making the Locked On Podcast Network your first listen. We'll see you right back here tomorrow on Locked On NBA Daily.